Mr. Cooney, you're muted.
Thank you, Roman. Starting over again. Kind of small turnout today, but you guys get your points, and we are going to have a day off from live session tomorrow because we're going to have a longer reading assignment I'm going to give today that's due by Sunday night. Okay, so grammar lesson 16, due last night, that's been checked. Wait, that's the wrong class. Well, I'm having a rough start this morning. You are honors people, of course. There we go. So grammar lesson 16 should have been completed by last night. It's been checked. I will be posting our vocab test tonight, and you're going to need to complete that sometime on Friday. Okay, another reason to not have a live session, so you guys can just have time to do that. And I'll be posting a key over the weekend after I check that, probably Saturday morning or something, and corrections due by Sunday night, usual stuff. Okay. All right. So what was due on the assignment on the Odyssey was both the video questions, which you either did 2 nights ago or finished up yesterday, if you had looked at that mistaken due date. And then we read the, hopefully using my video, 3 pages of book 5 about Calypso, and you should have completed questions on those, turning those both in. So the new assignment's coming on book 9, okay, which is considerably longer, okay, due by Sunday night, and there's a new post. Let's bring that up real fast here, Odyssey book 9. And I have an 18-minute video and a 13-minute video. So although it's long, that's, I don't know, between 35 and 40 minutes of video that'll get you through the whole reading. If you want to use that, I would strongly recommend that. I kind of gently push you toward the questions and point out things while I'm doing the reading. So I would suggest using that. And you can either look, if the video is clear enough, then you can look at the text while I'm reading and kind of mousing through it, or you could get it started and then go to the text yourself and do it that way. You know, or you could play the audio from the phone and look at it on the screen, you know, whatever you want to do, whatever you want to do. But you're going to need to submit the answers to those questions on this post, on this assignment post by Sunday night. Okay. All right, let's go to the slides here and get to those questions on the video notes. It should be these right here. Right? I'll have you on in. Okay, here's one of those times where I'm not going to be able to see all of you guys at once. Let's see here, see what I can do. Got that, make that bigger. Put you guys over here. Okay, I can see most of you now. All right, so the video chronologically, right, covers the beginning right from obviously Odysseus's proudest day of his life, which is of course the birth of Telemachus, right? And the whole story in a way kind of revolves around Telemachus growing into a man, right? Because when he does, he's either going to become king of Ithaca or those suitors are going to kill him while Odysseus is racing to try to get home finally after all this time. It's going to circle all back, right? Okay, so that's what number 1 is about. So 2, to which city do Odysseus' ships sail so that the men may fight an opposing army? Absurdly easy question. Would somebody tell us? Go ahead, Ellen.
Troy.
Of course, to Troy, right? That's the whole Paris took Helen away from Menelaus and Agamemnon and Menelaus, Odysseus, and a bunch of other guys go over there to fight that war, and we've already dealt with that, and you watched a really silly dramatization of that. Okay, so what does Odysseus tell Penelope she must do if he has not returned by the time their son has a beard on his face? Madeline?
She needs to find a new husband and pass the kingdom to Telemachus.
Okay, and to which she is resistant, right? Because she doesn't want to accept that he might not come home, right? And that's part of the whole dynamic that's going to be going on in the background in Ithaca, like during the whole story. Yeah, the ship. What does goddess Athena tell Odysseus he is to do? Go ahead, Roman.
Athena tells Odysseus he must battle and defeat the Trojans.
Okay, so you can tell that Odysseus, the way, especially the way it's depicted in the movie, he's got Athena on his side, right? Wisdom, that's going to help, right? So, in one sense, Odysseus is, is he smart because he has the gods' help, or does he have the gods' help because they like him because he's smart, right? Or at least Athena's, right? Now he makes Poseidon angry, and maybe Zeus to some degree too. But it's kind of a chicken or the egg kind of thing, right? Okay. The defender of Troy, its greatest warrior. If you were really to read the Iliad, this would be a major character in the Iliad, and it's a very familiar name. We have a part of our body named after it, right, Alex?
Hector.
Sorry?
Hector.
Hector, yes. Actually, yeah, I was thinking of Achilles for a second there, but you're right, of course, that's Hector, right? And Achilles is able to defeat him, right? That's what I was referencing, like our Achilles tendon, right? Okay, the words of the soothsayer. He almost exposes the Greeks' plan by saying what? Roman?
Beware the Greeks and their gifts.
Beware of the Greeks and their gifts, right? So a soothsayer is kind of like a truth teller, a fortune teller. But then what happens to him? Well, he's swallowed up by some kind of sea monster, right? Which kind of shows that at that point, Poseidon, right, was probably on the side of the Greeks, right? Because he kind of helps their plan. But then Odysseus pisses him off royally right after he defeats the Trojans and says, "I don't need anybody. I'm like a god. I defeated the Trojans." Definitely some arrogance in his personality, right? Okay, obviously what they build that allows them to finally get through the gates of Troy is the Trojan horse, right? We've already talked about that, and we talked about how the war lasted 10 years before he finally came up with that trick to get them through. But then finally, in reference to Poseidon, if someone can answer this, what does Poseidon say he will do as a result of Odysseus's pride and arrogance? Braden, sorry, go ahead.
He says that he will never reach the shore of Ithaca.
Yeah, sounds like he wants him to suffer, right? And whether he lets him get there or not, boy, it's not going to be easy. And that is what the Odyssey becomes all about. All right. So once again, there's that timeline. Hopefully this is starting to make a little more sense, right? So what you watched the video of was kind of the end of this whole thing, right? And we get to this leaves Troy part here. And then we're going to kind of start reading into more of that with your assignment that you're reading for Sunday, where the story actually starts by Homer, right? Book 1 is what you just read, right? Which we're going to talk about now, which is at the end of his time with Calypso, right? Then it flashes back to when he leaves Troy, which we just saw. And we'll make our way through bits and pieces of all this stuff before it jumps ahead over to here, right? Odysseus is finally able to make his way home with a little bit of guidance and from Calypso and then Athena, of course. Okay, so we're gonna, this slide here, I'm not sure which number it is off the top of my head now, I think maybe 17 or something. But this is the one that you'll keep returning to. Okay, so that's why I made this materials text rather than assignment text, so it kind of looks a little bit different. You're going to continue to go back to that to read each parts of the abridged text that we're going to be moving in and out of, and we'll watch a few more movie clips too, not really quite the whole movie. So we have read book 5, okay? You and you use my video for that. You're going to be reading book 9 by Sunday night. And here are the questions for that part, which we've done, right? Okay, so rereading lines 22 through 31, try to picture the details of Calypso's island as you read. What are some of the basically vegetation and wildlife that are there? And how does that kind of reflect what Calypso's island is like, and maybe her? All right, Roman, go ahead.
Types of trees included alder, black polar, and pungent cypress, ornate birds, purple clusters of crooked vines under a ply of green, beads of violet, and tender parsley.
Okay. Can we add anything to that? What that might, what are the connotations of that?
I don't even know.
Anybody else? Ella, something out there?
I put it kind of shows that she seems like a calm and naturous person.
Mm-hmm.
Just based off like how peaceful her island seems.
Yeah, definitely so. But we learn it kind of seems like you can see from the whole picture that it's kind of a trap, right? There's a lot of themes in the Odyssey about how something is really beautiful or sounds beautiful or seems relaxing and then draws you in, and then suddenly some time has passed, or you are trapped, or you're doing something that you didn't mean to do, or you've forgotten about home, right? And really what all those things are kind of symbols, right? Metaphorical symbols for temptations or shortcuts in life when you're trying to figure out who you are, right? That's how you have to look at this whole story. The whole thing can be interpreted in all these different symbolic ways. So think about that as you kind of read into book 9. Number 2, rereading 43 through 54. Which of Odysseus' epic hero qualities is emphasized here? Just think about that. Or did you see it a different way? What's depicted in those lines there? All right, Roman, go ahead.
What he looked, or how good he looks.
He's supposed to be an impressive physical specimen too, but he's also supposed to be intelligent too and strong-willed, right? So although Calypso is beautiful, right? She's kind of a seductress, temptress, right? You're kind of getting that. It does say that he's able to quote unquote resist her, right? But he's also spending a lot of time on this really beautiful place with this really beautiful woman. So it's kind of a gray area there as far as what we really think about that. Is part of the outdated themes of the Odyssey with how old it is. Does it kind of excuse the fact that he's out here doing these things, or is the true intent of the story that he's really trapped in this place, and maybe some others that you'll see too, and then he's able to resist the temptations? So just kind of keep thinking about that as we go. Are you influenced by flattery? When someone is trying to persuade you to do something, well, yeah, she's giving him a whole lot of flattery, isn't she? She's offering him a lot of stuff, right? And in addition to flattery, what strategies does Calypso use to try to this out of the way there, try to convince Odysseus to stay with her? What does she offer him, as well as flattering him, Alex?
She offers him immortality on that island.
Mm-hmm. The ultimate gift, right? Or at least one that we would be most prone to be tempted by as humans, right? Because everyone to some degree fears, or at least does not look forward to aging and death, right? And if someone offered you, but it's an age-old story and theme, right? And we're not meant to be immortal. And if we were, what would probably be what would be some of the drawbacks of that? I've probably seen a million stories about this. How would it kind of suck, actually? Kendall.
Population.
What do you mean?
Like,
oh, you mean if everybody was
Yeah.
immortal? What if it was just you though? How would that kind of stink?
oh, you watch everyone around you like die. That's like really sad.
Yeah, he would watch Penelope die, right? Or he would know that she is passing away from his life, right? And it's not the same. I would imagine, I don't know, I'm not immortal, but I mean, the theme of the stories usually is that we treasure the things that we have because they're not going to be there forever, because we're not going to be here forever, right? So Odysseus is smart enough to be able to resist the offering of that, not just the flattery, but the offering of that, what seems to be ultimate gift, and he turns it down, and he wants to go home, and she finally has to accept that. Okay, so those lines revealed by Odysseus and Calypso, there was an attachment there, right? But in the end, he's going to say, what I want to be is Penelope's husband, and beautiful as you are, I wouldn't trade it. I wouldn't trade a lifetime with you for the little time that I have left with her. All right. So how does this kind of fit in with the whole idea of that hero's journey that we kind of talked about in our background material? So you guys had a little bit of trouble with that question. What's happening with Odysseus here, in addition to him just quote unquote making this geographical, supernatural, crazy journey. What else is he kind of doing here? What's he trying to figure out that he seems to be getting his head on straight about? What's the hero's journey really about? What's a quest really about? Braden.
Him getting back home to Penelope.
Not just geographically though, right? Him figuring out something about himself, right? Does he want to be an adventurer, a soldier, a hero primarily, or does he want to be a father and a husband, right? And that's part of that hero's journey. Right? It's kind of counterintuitive, right? It's really in a way it's like settled. It seems like a whole bunch of crazy external conflicts, but really the whole thing is about one big internal conflict when you really get down to it. Okay, so here are your questions for book 9. So there's 11 questions. It is a good bit of reading, but I think use my videos, you can get through it and do this no problem by Sunday night. So you're gonna want to do the vocab test tomorrow and work on this reading stuff. And that's it. No live session tomorrow. Let me come on the screen share here. Anybody have any questions about anything? Okay, thanks for being here, guys. Have a good weekend. Oh, come get your novels.